Hi everyone, my name is Megan, and as you can see by the title of this poster, my group and I decided that we would like to research a little bit more about the sources of information used by women while they are pregnant. So jumping right into it, there are lots of sources a person can use to retrieve health-related information. We specifically wanted to study the types of sources of information that pregnant women use. And so in regards to the different types of sources, there's the internet, which is a huge one. There are medical professionals, including midwives. There are family and friends. There are published works such as magazines, articles, books, etc. So as stated in the introduction, the purpose of this study is to identify and discuss the types of sources pregnant women use to retrieve health information regarding pregnancy. There was actually quite a bit of literature that we found regarding the topic, especially when we broke it down into subcategories, as you can see in the background section, such as the internet, midwives, family and friends, and published works. The internet is a huge alternative source that pregnant women use, other than their healthcare provider. In one study, it was found that 44.1% of expecting mothers use the internet for health-related information during pregnancy, 1 to 2 times a week. So that's a pretty significant frequency, and that a lot of them do use the internet. So midwives, the popularity of midwives varies depending on the region and nation. One study found in Australia that 70% of the women reported obtaining information through a simple discussion with their midwives. And then in another study, it was found that most of these pregnant women were obtaining their information from family and friends. So such an example would be like in Africa, where maybe there isn't a ton, in certain parts of Africa, there isn't a ton of access to health professionals, so they rely heavily on their family members and their close friends. And then the other source would be published works such as books in Australia, such as books in magazines. And in another study in Australia, found that most of the women were obtaining their information from published works like books. So to guide our research, we chose 2 research questions. The first is, do expectant mothers choose alternative informational sources over healthcare providers? And the second, are pregnant women confident in the information obtained from sources other than healthcare providers? The way that we decided to obtain our data was through a survey. The survey was created through Qualtrics and included a total of 8 questions. We distributed the survey through social media, and that was just simply sharing it on my Facebook page with my friends and family, and then also through my partner Courtney's Facebook page. And then we also asked our professor to share it on her Facebook page. And we actually got a lot of responses that we were happy about. We got a total of 234 responses. Unfortunately, we could only use 178 of those responses because in some of the questions, some of the women had indicated that they were either pregnant or that they had not been pregnant in the past 2 years. And so we had to disregard those responses because our target population only included women who had been pregnant in the past 24 months or 2 years. We would have liked to survey pregnant women, but that is a protected group. So if you're wondering why we didn't do that, that is why. So once we collected all the data, then we compiled it into a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. We used descriptive statistics test to analyze the quantitative data, and then the chi-square test to analyze the qualitative data. We ran a total of 2 chi-square tests. The first compared the 2 variables of the participants' ages and their chosen sources of information. And then the second chi-square test compared the ages of the participants with the confidence levels of the participants regarding perceived accuracy and reliability of chosen informational sources. So you can take a look at our graphics. Those are all our tables that display our data and the analysis. All right, so in conclusion, It was found that the majority of women use other sources besides their healthcare providers, but we found that they use alternate sources with the information that they get from their healthcare providers. So they're using both. They rely on their healthcare provider, but they also rely on alternative sources to supplement that information. And also, we found that half of the participants found the information they obtained outside of their healthcare provider to be just as helpful. So they didn't indicate that the information they retrieved from other sources to be more helpful than the information they got from healthcare providers, but to be just as helpful. And then, really, in essence, the chi-square test revealed that there isn't any correlation between the age of the participants and each of the variables in the study. And if you'd like to get a little bit more information about that, you can read the poster and what we concluded there. So just to wrap up, it was discovered that yes, women do choose alternative informational sources over healthcare providers. However, those sources were often used in tandem with the information obtained from healthcare providers. And additionally, pregnant women are indeed confident in the information they retrieve from sources other than their healthcare providers.